Hello, it's Dawn Michelle and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be kicking off a new series on my channel called DIY Tarot Spreads, where I share with you how I go about the process of creating the various spreads and readings that I use in my personal tarot practice. In this first video, I want to share with you 4 variations on a keyword spread that I like to do for myself, and I thought I would share with you all of the different ways in which I create a reading out of Oracle keywords. And I'm going to share with you the ways that I do it using a single keyword Oracle, a sort of two keywords, or a title and a keyword in the case of this. So 1 word, 2 words, 3 words on an Oracle card, and 4. And each of them have a very distinct energy and a different way that I work with the spreads and the cards. So we're gonna go ahead and dive in, and I'm just gonna share with you each of the 4 different ways that I use Oracle decks in various configurations to actually create spreads for my readings. So we're going to start with our single keyword, and we have the Soul Coaching Oracle cards. It's kind of funny that all the Oracle decks I've chosen are all decks that are in boxes, and all the tarot decks that I've chosen to pair with it are all in my bags. I do believe this deck is still available. I know the other ones are, but I will definitely check, and as always, I'll leave links in the description box below for you. So this is a fun little Oracle that has a really fun, bright, vivacious kind of an energy, but it has a great kind of single keyword that is very front and center. We do have a little sort of affirmation message at the bottom too, and I'll show you how I incorporate that, although that's not really the focus of my work with this deck. So to demonstrate this process for the single keyword, I have my joie de vivre, because I feel like it too also has a really fun, vibrant, vivacious energy that I think works really well with the soul coaching cards. The way that I use this to create a spread is to actually use these titles as positions in a spread. So if I wanted to do a 3-card reading, I would do commitment would be position 1, miracles would be position 2, and flow would be position 3. So these actually create the spread itself. So sometimes when I know I want to do a reading, I have an idea of what I want to do the reading on, but I don't have like a spread at hand that I could use, and I feel like I need sort of that structure of a spread with positions. I just use my Oracle decks with single keywords to create that spread for me. So I can do 3 cards, I could do 4, I can do as many as I want. We're just gonna keep these fairly small just for time and space sake. So you could do this with any Oracle deck that like has a single keyword on it. It can have other things on it too, that's cool too. Like this one has the little affirmation messages at the bottom. Sometimes there's like a little quote or things like that, but you can incorporate that in as well. But I'm basically using these to create a spread, a 3-card spread with the positions of commitment, miracles, and flow. So then I'm going to pull my tarot cards for a message from each of those positions. And like, look how beautiful that is. It creates a little sunburst around it. So for commitment, we got the 10 of Swords. For miracles, we got the Emperor. And for flow, we got the 2 of Coins. So each of these, I would read these as if they are spread positions. So what do I need to make a commitment to? We have the 10 of Swords. What miracle might I be, looking for? Might be even trying to manifest myself, and I have the Emperor. And where do I need to engage with flow? We have the 2 of Coins. Now with a deck like this, I can also kind of slide these cards around, or maybe even pull them away from the cards themselves, or just slide them up as I'm working through my reading, and I get a little kind of affirmation message. So this is kind of a dual purpose, but it's still focusing on that single keyword to create the spread. When I'm done with all of that, I can use that. So we had the commitment, and with the 10 of Swords, it says my commitments increase my joy and freedom. That's really interesting with the 10 of Swords, right? Talking about commitments and having them be a source of joy and freedom rather than maybe a source of anxiety, which is quite interesting. The Emperor, we have my life is a miracle. That's a great takeaway for the Emperor. And then for the 2 of Coins, we have the glory of the universe flows through me with that 2 of Coins. I love that. We have that balancing energy, kind of letting the universal flow come in and go out, and you're going to do what you're going to do with it. So that's one of the probably most used ways that I work with an Oracle deck to create spread positions out of it. It works really, really well with a lot of different oracle decks that I have. So you just lay your single card down for, you got a position of power, a position of pleasure, and a position of compassion. That's really interesting. You can also go through, if you have something specific in mind, like something that you're gonna be doing a reading on, and you have some kind of specific things that you're looking for, maybe I might wanna create a spread on where I can create some action. So then I can look through here and kind of go, well, okay, I'm gonna take action. So what's another kind of keyword that might help me tap into that might help me with the with what I'm trying to create? I like fulfillment there. I like focus. That's a good one, right? So focus, we've got action, we're gonna take action, we're gonna focus, and maybe we might even wanna switch these around. What do we wanna focus on? Where can we take action with it? And what is it going to bring us? So you can also go through and just select the keywords. In this way, every deck becomes like those spread building decks. Like any oracle deck will work for that. So that's an example of a spread I would create with a single keyword oracle deck. In this case, we use the Soul Coaching Oracle cards and my Joie de Vivre. So moving on, we're gonna look at cards that have two things on them, right? This can be like two keywords. Like I recently showed in the playing with pairs video that I did, where I used the Southern Gothic, and this actually has two keywords on the bottom, so agency and independence. And I shared in that how I would use that in the two tarot cards around it, each one corresponding to the keyword. So I'm not gonna go into that here because I did kind of go into a little bit about that in that video. That's certainly the way you can use it. But more common than that, than the two keyword thing, is oracle decks that have a keyword and a title. So that's what we're going to look at today. We've got the Earth Magic Oracle cards that is going to play that position for us for creating this spread. And then I've got my Modern Spellcasters tarot deck to help create that message for us. We can use it in a 3-card reading, right? We can use it 3 cards and we're gonna pull 6 around it. So I'm gonna actually show you a couple of different ways to do this. If I pull this first card and I'm looking at Green Man and Synergy, what I'm gonna do is pull a tarot card for both of those things. Even though it's meant to be all in one, I am going to look at it as a message from Green Man, which I got the 3 of Wands. So that's my message from Green Man. And then I'm gonna look at that kind of keyword. So we have the title, like who's the message coming from, or what energy is the message coming from. The message itself is tied into synergy. That's our focus. So then I'm going to pull a tarot card for that focus. So synergy, where do I need to create synergy? That's in the 10 of Pentacles. So I'll show you a couple of them here just because as we get into more detail or more cards, more words, it can be a little bit more confusing. So love and compassion. So what's the message, the energy of love? That's the star. So star is embodying the energy of love for us. And compassion, the message for that is temperance. Where do we need to have some compassion? We're going to tap into the star for love. That's going to be our messenger of love, if you will. And the message that they're sharing is compassion through temperance. So I think this works really well in this sense. We have Meadow. So what's our message from Meadow? We've got the Chariot. And where do we need to practice some vulnerability? We've got the Ace of Wands. So that's definitely one way that you can work with those oracle decks that have both titles and keywords. Another way that we could do this, same particular type of drawing, is to pull 3 cards if we wanted to do something larger, which I think I said I wasn't going to do a lot of large spreads, but you know, we're going with it. I want to really share with you all the things that I do with these. We can use this in very much the same way that you just saw me use the soul coaching cards. I'm going to move these extra cards here, because I need to make a little space for this one. And in this sense, I'm going to do a 3-card reading, but I'm going to pull 2 cards for each one using that same concept. So a message from clouds is the world, and what do we need to shape shift is the Hierophant. And a message from dawn is the sun. How appropriate is that? And where do we need to look for some new beginnings? In the 7 of Swords. So a message from ceremony is the Page of Wands. And where do we need to invite invocation? We have the High Priestess. So you can see how I've now created kind of this 6-card reading using the energies of my oracle deck to create the spread and kind of, in a sense, dictate positions, right? I'm using it as 3 positions. There's clouds, dawn, and ceremony, but then I'm also accessing those keywords and kind of like, here's the message and what do I do with it? Here's the message, what do I do with it? And then I can look at all of these together and look at clouds, dawn, ceremony. What does that tell me together? And what do all of these cards, if I read them in a 6-card reading, or maybe in a line like this, maybe this is a story of there's some clouds, there's been, you know, maybe some changes, some heaviness, some changes that need to be made. There's going to bring a new beginning, and we're going to bring some ceremony, some ritual, some invocation into something new with that as well. So that's definitely another way that I use my oracle cards to help me create a spread, using primarily here an oracle deck with a title and a keyword. So the next spread is actually going to be a 3-card spread using a single oracle. Now, I did talk about this deck recently, this Celtic Spirit Oracle. That's the one that's going to be helping us out today, because I specifically bought this deck for this type of a reading to be able to use it in this way. I shared it in that pairings video that I did when I first got it, and I paired it with the Forest of Enchantment because these were the 2 decks that I had in mind for this practice. So in this example, we have cards that do have a title. We could pull that in if we want, but I'm not going to actually use that as those spread positions. That's going to be our focus of our reading, and then each of the 3 keywords at the bottom are going to provide the positions. So if we're using pentagram, that is our focus of our reading. That's what our reading's about, the pentagram. So then I'm going to pull 3 cards from my tarot deck, 1 for each keyword, and use those as positions. So this would be the spread position of protection with the 8 of spells, the position of balance with the Ace of Visions, and unity with the 6 of Visions. So this is telling me that the focus of my reading is the pentagram. Again, this is another great one to do if you don't really know what you want to do reading about. This type of a deck structure where you have the title and multiple keywords gives you not only the theme, the focus, what your reading is about, it gives you those spread positions to then create the reading. So let's show you with another one here. Let's do portal. So we have portal is the focus of the reading itself, and then the spread positions will be change, gateway, and new beginnings. So for change, we have the keeper of spells. That's where we need to incorporate some change. The gateway is the green mother. That's maybe how we're going to access that change. That's going to be our point of entry. And then our new beginnings, we have the Ace of Boons, and that's going to be maybe what's going to come out of this change that we're experiencing here. So I really loved using decks like this where the title actually provides the focus of the reading, right? We only need a single oracle card for this because I guess if we wanted to do a really big reading, we could do 3. We could do the focus is fawn, and then we'll pull our 3 cards, then surrender and divination and our 3 cards, right? We could do that, and that would give us a really big 9-card reading. And because these are all coming from the same oracle deck, the kind of central theme or focus or energy of the deck is similar, so we could do that in that manner for sure. But I like just pulling a single card. That gives me the focus of my reading, Master of the Hunt. That's the focus of my reading. Then I have speed, masculinity, and flow that I can pull my tarot cards and use that as the spread positions. So that's a really fun way to work with a deck like this that has not only a title, but 3 keywords as well. You can do this with an oracle deck that just has the 3 keywords. You don't necessarily need to have the title. The title can just provide the focal point for the reading for you if you want it. But if you just had an oracle deck that just said wisdom, future, truth, you could use that as your 3 positions as well. And you're just pulling that single oracle card. That's your entry into the reading. And then the 3 keywords provide the positions for your spread beneath it. So the last one we're going to do today is kind of what I like to call the path spread, the path reading. This is a great one to use with a deck such as the Mists of Avalon, which I have here, for decks that have a lot of directionality to them. And I like this one because we have 4 keywords on all sides of the card, 1 keyword on each side of the card, and it works really well for that. Also, the artwork is just stunning. Stunning, stunning. But when you're looking at a deck like this, where we have cards that have multiple keywords and that are very directionally based. So I have a few in my collection. I've seen a few others where there is sort of things going on more than the one side of the card, right? So when we have oracle decks that the traditional oracle kind of has the card title or keywords down at the bottom or the top. Here we see them in all four directions. I have seen a couple of other different oracle decks that do this as well, and I think it's really cool. I like to put it in the center, and basically we're going to kind of do the same thing where the oracle deck is going to provide the focus of our reading. This is like what's the direction that we need to be heading. And I like to use the 4 different keywords around the outside to give me options. For this, I'm going to be using my little weird forest folklore tarot. I love this deck. I'm sorry, I do think it is out of print, but it does work beautifully with this particular deck and this particular reading. So I definitely wanted to just go ahead and use it. So I'm going to pull a tarot card for each of the positions. So mystery, we have justice. I'm probably going to run out of room, but let's do that. We have the other world with the hangman. We have self-knowledge with the lovers. I'm pulling all majors. All right, and the goddess with 5 of wands. So in this instance, what I'm kind of looking at, if I could figure out a way to really get all of this on the table at once, is I have this option here, this idea of maybe something that I'm mulling over, right? And I'm not sure which direction I really want to go. So I can use this in a couple of different ways. I can use this as this is going to tell me more about the singular direction that I need to be flowing. So maybe from these 4 tarot cards, I will determine what direction I need to be headed with this particular thing that I'm looking at. Where do I need to be going from here? I can also use this as kind of thinking about what each of these keywords might relate to in terms of the different directions that I might be able to take a particular thing. So I might look at this and go, well, justice, maybe that's not the right direction for me. The hanged man doesn't give me the right direction anyway. That's like going the wrong way. That's upside down, right? This 5 of wands, that feels like he's telling me, nope, not this direction. So what I'm getting out of this is I'm looking at this going, okay, what's the direction that I need to head? The lovers. That's the card that's telling me the yes. This is the yes card in this layout here, and it's in the position of self-knowledge. So I can take this and further expand upon this outward if I wanted to as well. You know, I'm thinking about whatever it is that I'm doing the reading on. I'm trying to decide like which direction I need to go. This is telling me it's the direction of self-knowledge, and here's what I need to know about that, and I could pull more cards if I want to. So that's definitely one way that we can work with the directionality in this in terms of that path. So let's pull out Holy Grail here, and let's do this one now. We're going to look at still using those same 4 positions, but rather than trying to determine a path of which way to go, let's say I already know the path. I already know what I want to do. I just need to know more about that decision that I've made. So I'm going to look at each of these keywords, which are probably small, you probably can't read them, and see what do I need to know about each of those things. So life force. And the other thing that I'm going to do once I get them all out here is I'll show you. We have the 2 of rings. They're just going to run off the table, and that's going to be okay. So life force is 2 of rings. Regeneration is the 4 of swords. Wisdom is our 10 of rings. And spirit is our Lady of Wands. So in each of these positions, what I'm looking at now, I already have like my decision, my whatever it is that I'm gonna do, right? That's the Holy Grail. That's what I'm after. And I'm going to look at this and go, as above, so below, what I need to leave, what I need to step into. And that's another way that I like to use these 4 things, but I'm going to do that in relation to these keywords. So as above, life force, 2 of rings. This is our 2 of pentacles. And so it's telling me that life force from the spiritual realm, from above, or maybe what I consciously know, you could approach it in that way as well, is the 2 of rings. I need to bring that down into the mundane world and bring it into balance for myself, right? So we have kind of what's behind me with regeneration, and we have the 4 of swords. I mean, that's kind of perfect for that keyword. But this is telling me like that time of sitting, of regeneration, of recovery is over. It's time to move on from that. And what are we going to move into? We have spirit with the Lady of Wands. So we're going to move into tapping into that energy of cultivating our own creativity or whatever it is. We're going to cultivate that for ourselves. We're going to tap into the spirit, the energy of that, and pull that into whatever it is that we were trying to do our work around, right? The holy grail that we're after in this reading. And then the wisdom that comes from below, maybe the wisdom that comes from the unknown, the wisdom that comes from the subconscious. You can even pull that down, the wisdom that comes from maybe the ancestors or that which is long past behind us. We have the 10 of Rings. To know that is going to come to fruition. It is going to come to a cultivation, and you are going to achieve your holy grail, right? You're going to achieve what you're looking at. But it's also telling me in that kind of pentacle energy that it needs to be really grounded and stable in what you're creating in order to achieve that. So I like to use it in that way as well, using those 4 keywords in this particular deck, but in any deck similar to this where we have a directionality on a card. You could do this with also just tying into a couple of the keywords. You could also do this with bringing in other oracle, other tarot. Maybe you might want to do other oracle decks on top and bottom and tarot for left and right. You can assign anything you want to these particular directionalities as well. But one of the things that I think sets this type of a thing apart from, say, just any other oracle deck that has multiple keywords on it is that we do have that directionality. And for me, that directionality does kind of lend itself to a certain type of reading where we're pulling above, we're bringing up from below, we're maybe letting go of something that's behind us and we're moving into something new. That directionality is what's really key for me in working with a deck like this in this particular way, where I'm using the oracle deck itself to create the spread. So in each of these examples here, I'm using not only the theme, the words, but also the layout of the deck, the structure of the deck itself to help me create a spread. Whether I'm using like a single keyword like I have here in the soul coaching cards, where I'm just using that is to literally create a spread position on the table. This is a great one for that. It also happens to have a little affirmation message on the bottom, so I can pull that into the reading at the end. Decks with titles and keywords can also be really helpful for creating your own spreads, because you can pull in the title as one position and the keyword as another. Again, you're still using the oracle deck to kind of create your own spread for you, but in a sense like this, where we're looking at a deck like this, is more kind of an energy that you're pulling in, right? You're kind of getting wisdom from the earth magic elements, right? Wisdom from eagle, wisdom from volcano, wisdom from childhood, whereas a deck like that we saw with the single keyword is a really kind of more positional type of word. It's more of a here's what to focus on, here's what to break through, here's what to be aware of, that type of a thing. And then we have decks like this where we have the title and multiple keywords, where the title itself can provide the focus of the reading, the energy of the reading, and then we have the 3 keywords that create those positions for that reading. And I really like decks like this as well, because I think this is a really interesting way to create a reading using a very specific energy, as well as using very specific kind of titles or elements, like, the crone, the fairy godmother, versus like a cloud or focus, right? It adds something different to the reading, as well as creating the focus, as well as the positions for our spread. And then we have decks like this with the directionality, which allow us to kind of create readings based on where the cards actually lie. So where is it kind of touching or interacting with the energy of the card? We can also use it, as you saw, for decision making, even intention setting. Like maybe I'm looking at 4 different things and I need to decide which one I want to do, or I'm looking at where I need to set my intentions, and so I'm going to pull in those keywords, lay my 4 cards, and see which one I'm being drawn to. But it also works beautifully for, like I said, those directionality readings. So I hope you enjoyed this little look at how I use oracle decks to actually create spreads for me, whether I'm using a single card to actually create spread positions, oracle decks with a title and keyword to help me work with an energy and what I need to do with it, whether we have that 3 card reading with the title that gives us that sort of focus of the reading, as well as the positions for the spread itself, and cards that have like directional 4 keywords, things on different sides of the cards that help us create those kind of directional readings, as well as just to kind of build that standard as above, so below, what's coming into, what we're leaving behind type of a reading. I think decks like this work really well well for that. The oracle provides the focal point as well as the keywords and the positions that we'll be tying into. So I hope that you enjoyed that. Maybe you found that helpful. I would love to know if you try any of these, what you think, if you do something similar. So feel free to share with me in the comments. You'll also find links for everything I talked about here in the description box below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I look forward to sharing with you again soon.